Today I'm going to answer a question sent to me by Bruno, who has a 1990 300 CE, and he has just finished the task of rebuilding his cylinder head with new valve guides and a new head gasket. And Bruno tells me that his problem is that as the car warms up, it begins to surge and eventually dies and will not restart and run properly until it is cooled off. Now, this is a very frustrating problem if you don't know all of the components that make your car run. And there is one item in particular that you need to pay attention to, and that is the crankshaft position sensor. As the crankshaft position sensor warms up, if there is a fault in it, that fault will be exposed and it'll cease to supply healthy spark to the engine. Eventually, when the crankshaft position sensor fails, what will happen is that the spark supply will become intermittent and the car will start to stumble, and eventually it will not start at all once it heats up. After the crankshaft position sensor is cooled, it resumes its ability to perform the necessary operations and it begins to work again. Now, a great way to know if your crankshaft position sensor is acting up is to crank the car over after it has died and listen for backfiring through the intake manifold. If you get popping or backfiring through the intake manifold, this is indicative of a crankshaft position sensor that's sending out a false signal to the EZL or ignition control unit. This false signal will cause missing, stumbling, and misfiring, but it will absolutely not allow the car to run. The next thing to look for if your crankshaft position sensor still does not do the trick after replacement is your EZL or ignition control unit itself. There's a company out in Los Angeles called Systems Consulting that rebuilds these, and they tend to have a very high failure rate on the 1990 through 1992 300 CE with the M104 engine and 24 valve engine. Nobody knows why these EZLs seem to fail so readily, but a lot of it could be the high stress load from the ignition, coupled with the fact that Mercedes electrics in the 1990s were so-so. In part 2 of this video, I will explain how a fuel system issue could potentially cause this problem, but first and foremost, the EZL and the crankshaft position sensor need to be checked. For some reason, if you're having similar symptoms on any Mercedes that uses EZL and crankshaft position sensor, which is any gasoline model from 1986 onward, feel free to send us your questions and we will help you. Thank you so much for tuning in, and hopefully, Bruno, this will lead to a solution to your problem. Thank you.